CRONAN SAGA. Cronan readied himself for combat, widening his stance, curling his hands into iron fists. The two thugs moaned as smooth jazz flowed through them. The goon wearing the leather jacket heaved and oozed. Eyes blank, his lungs rose and fell in a syncopated rhythm as he took in all the jazz. His leather jacket formed a second skin, a hide, as it stretched along his back, pulling tightly over his juicy, dripping muscles. He grunted as horns forced their way out of his body and through the supple, tender leather, penetrating through it, extending outwards along his vertebrae in a demonic spinal mohawk. The pale thug, flanking the first, slithered his elongated form into view, his body muscular but lengthening as he moved, vile and serpentine. His grin was twisted in unnatural pleasure, exposing rotted, jagged teeth, glistening sickly orange. In the darkness, Alex dreamily put the headphones on and inserted the tape marked S-Jazz into the player. His eyes closed for a moment before his breathing deepened. So, his breath fluttered. Smooth.
There it is!
Billy Bird squawked from the safety of a streetlight, his feathers puffed with excitement.
That's what I'm talking about, bro!
Cronan didn't wait for the abominable transformations to complete. He lunged toward the first thug, his senses sharp. He dipped low, avoiding the leatherback's predictable right hook. Cronan kept his eyes locked on the grotesque figure. He knew from his years fighting in the pits of Tarkus that big men favored their right. The unskilled combatant trusts their strength, believes in it, prays to it, depends on it. Not a bad sentiment, but incomplete. Cronan pivoted and dug his left hard into the goon's gut in a vicious upward strike. The impact reverberated up Cronan's arm like hitting stone, but the thug staggered, blood gushing out from his lips. From behind, the pale thug moved faster than humanly possible, his serpent neck aiming for Cronan's throat. Cronan spun, narrowly avoiding the strike. His boot shot out at a low angle, catching the demon man's knee. With a sickening crunch, it buckled backwards, then snapped in half, then torn in two like wet paper. With the Walkman blasting smooth jazz in his ears, the pale one barely noticed. He kept coming, eyes wild, mouth spewing curse venom. The audacity of his attack took Cronan by surprise, and they collided. Lubricated by blood and smooth jazz excretions, his body coiled around Cronan, roping him with slimy, sinewy strength. "Ah!" bellowed Cronan, grabbing the thug. Cronan's fingers sank into the stretchy flesh. He pulled and peeled it back. The thug moaned maniacally as Cronan screamed, ripping and tearing each body coil, pulling apart rib bones and fascia, elbows and armpits, femurs and arteries, red, wet tatters flapping in the air, until he finally stood, panting, covered in a juicy mash of his enemy. The head! Cronan twisted as he felt the hot, white, stinging pain of demon fangs piercing his chest. Though the fiend's body was shredded and his eyes were white and lifeless, his fangs still pulsed poison. Even after death, the jazz had infused his mangled dead flesh with the desire to kill. Cronan desperately struggled to break the final rigor mortis hold, pulling at the spinal cord tail extending from the disembodied head. From the spine, Cronan swung the head at the ground like a club, smashing its lobe on the concrete. There, it lay cratered, but still squirting the last of its deadly cocktail of poison and hate. Cronan clutched at his heart as his vision blurred from the pain and the poison. The leatherback took his chance then. Right! Into Cronan's gut. They thudded, lifting him off the ground. The leatherback drove his fist again and again into Cronan's stomach, each strike inflicting further damage to his organs. His beard matted with blood, the leatherback howls in pleasure at the violence. Cronan can only see white, so strong is the pain. Defenseless, the leatherback and the oily, half-naked thug begin taking turns slamming Cronan's head and body with enormous blows. White, red, black, red, white. Blinded by the poison, he feels the fists driving into his belly, his back, his jaw, and his kidneys, and the shockwaves rippling through his organs. White! His muscles were barely holding back the barrage of blows. Black! He feels the walls of his spleen rupturing. Without sight, he must rely on another sense to find his enemy. Red! His pain. Taking the full power of the next strike, wagering his guts, and drawing the fist deeper, where it could do maximum damage, burst his innards, explode his vital organs, and where it could be caught. It slams into his defenseless gut. At the point of deepest impact, Cronan endures the pain, the shockwave, and the bursting innards to catch the thug's arm. He grasps it, his fingers an iron trap digging into the flesh. He grunts as he twists the arm with brutal force. Bones snap, and the leatherback screeches. Cronan yanks him forward, headbutting him with the weight of a boulder. Blood sprays, splattering across the broken street as the thug's skull crumples, his demonic snarl turning into a choking gasp. From behind, the half-naked man looses a vicious strike at Cronan's kidney, sending yellow streaks across his vision. Cronan stumbles, stepping on the leatherback's chest. In one motion, he heaves upward with his vice grip, tearing the bone, joint, and flesh as he wrenches off the arm, whirling it around to bludgeon the half-naked gangbanger. He can see only vague, impressionistic images of his opponent and the violence he wreaks. But he swings wide and wildly with his brush. Red, black, red! The attacks are pure intuition. He paints the body red, a mad painter. A streak of color across his face, thick oil paint splattered on the canvas, stuck in his teeth. Black! The figure slumps to the dark asphalt under the onslaught as Cronan mixes the colors. The bristles of his brush, the shreds and tatters of the arm, painting red and black against the street and thug in equal measure. A tiny voice rings out. Please. Cronan hears amidst the torrent of violence.
Please. Just don't kill me.
The half-naked man looks up from his one remaining eye, begging. And why not, demon filth? His swollen lips quiver.
We were just marking our territory for the gang. Dolphins, you know. Dolphins out of the Green Dolphin. I'm sorry.
Who gave you this? Cronan gestures to the Walkman.
It was the...
He pauses for a moment, as though he realizes the weight of his next words.
The... jazz maker.
Alex leapt at the man before Cronan could respond, wild and possessed with unholy speed and power.
You fucker! Where's the fucking jazz?
Alex screamed. The man tried to answer, but Alex was already clawing at his face.
Where's the jazz? Where's the jazz?
Alex did not wait. He grabbed the man by his jaw and pulled as though the information were hidden inside. The thug could only scream as Alex ripped his jaw from his skull. Horrified, Cronan pulled Alex off and tossed him through the air, where he landed in a heap with a heavy thud. The battle is over, Alex! He looked down at the gurgling mess on the ground. Then, without a word, Cronan brought his boot down hard, silencing it. Cronan walked over to Alex, who was rocking where he had landed, holding his head.
Sorry,
said Alex distantly. You must control yourself, boy. Do not let your exuberance for vengeance cloud your judgment. Come. Alex looked off into the darkness. Everything was still then. The bodies, twisted and broken, moved no more. He looked down at his bloody, quivering hands. Cronan and Alex walked over to the lifeless woman. Her skin was cool and her eyes still. Cronan noticed a locket around her neck. He examined it. Willie, it read. Billy Bird called from the streetlight.
I can hear it. There's more. Bro, there's more. Much more. Much more jazz. Much more jazz.